Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, we have a live letter recap to go over, although that also means patch 4.05 patch notes since there was quite a bit of overlap. And, well, Savage is upon us. We've got some first impressions and we've got some news regarding how the World First race is going. And yes, it is actually quite the race. It's in a sprint, more so. I'm one of your hosts, Michael, Mr. Happy Pulver. Of course, joining me is Slyh, aka Slythefox, aka Slyh, aka Greyfox, aka you, my boy Blue. How you doing?
Pretty good with the changes and everything.
Oh yeah, your Dragoon. We'll get to talk about those later. Slyh, just quick note. So I copy paste most of the descriptions in the YouTube video. I realized I still had one of your old nicknames in there this week, and I removed it. It was the squirrel one.
Good.
That's like 45 episodes ago, I believe.
Yeah, I know. Like it's been a while.
Yes.
I feel like there's a story on this I need to catch up on.
Yeah, I don't even remember it. And also, we said that we want to start bringing in some new blood to the show because we haven't in quite some time. So we reached out to fellow Dream Network member Fahros here, who has also been streaming Final Fantasy XIV quite frequently. Is also big on fighting games, so I'm sure you had a great weekend.
I did indeed.
Yes, this is. I'll give you two your opportunity to talk slightly about Evo at some point because
all right.
Even I caught some Evo, and I know it's a Final Fantasy XIV show, but Evo was like the big thing this last weekend. So, and I know Fahros. I mean, before you played 14, you played fighting games. You played Soul Calibur, right?
That's where I started with my content creation. Yep, it was all in fighters. So yeah, Soul Calibur was my baby.
See, I'm a good friend. I remember. I don't remember
Indeed.
why I gave him a nickname, but I remember you playing Soul Calibur.
That's it, man. And thanks again for having me on and for introducing me to the chat.
Thank you for coming.
Have you been on before?
I was on one State of the Realm, and it wasn't just us, the boys. So this is kind of cool because last time I was on, not to say that there's anything wrong with the people we were on with, but I'm already putting my foot in my mouth. It was a couples episode.
I was not on that episode, actually.
You were not on that.
That's right.
Slyh, yes. You and I both were on. You have not been on a show. You were there for the show, though, in the back.
I was in chat. But
yeah.
That's right. So this is the first time with this format that I'm on the show.
That was episode 8.
This
is 125. It's been over 2 years since that episode.
Feels good, man.
We still out here.
Oh my god. That's incredible. Okay. Well, luckily we have some exciting stuff to talk about this week. I really do want to get into Savage stuff, but let's take it back. Let's take it a step back, and let's go back to the live letter this last Saturday. Now, gentlemen, did you have the opportunity to catch it? And if you didn't catch it live, I don't blame you. It was at 3 a.m.
I didn't see it.
I recall it.
Okay.
Yeah, so once I woke up, I watched it.
Okay, that's fair, because it was 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Pacific. So reasonable people don't mess with that shit. I'm dumb, so I do.
I respect it. I respect it. I just didn't say. He said don't. He said don't.
Don't respect it. I want to be sleeping.
I was sleeping. Guilty as charged.
Lucky. Okay. Well, so we're gonna go over that first. Although I do want to say a lot of the job changes is what they talked about for the first 40 minutes or so is actually in the patch notes. So we're gonna kind of skimp over those so we can kind of talk about it more focused during the patch note discussion itself. But before we get into that, what did you think of this live letter? It was the Q&A format as opposed to the hey, we have news for you format. Which format do you guys kind of prefer? Because I kind of prefer these Q&A type sessions. Feels I knew it was going to happen. I was like, we're all going to talk at the same time. I knew it.
Yeah, Fahros, go ahead.
All right, so I haven't got too many of them, but I feel like if there's a lot of information that needs to get out to the public, maybe just the hey, here's the information, we've got it all planned out, we're gonna go through it point by point, bullet by bullet. I think that's fine. But if there's not an overwhelming mass of information that people need broken down for them to understand, I think the Q&A is definitely more interactive format. So I'm kind of sad I missed it, actually. I've only seen one of the Q&A types before, and I really liked it.
It has been a while since because they stopped doing them for like a pretty long time. They used to only do Q&As back in the day, and now it's like almost never Q&As. So.
Yeah.
For good reason.
So Sly, I can guess which format you prefer then.
Yeah. I'm more of the we have news type format, and rather than the Q&As. The Q&As, as you can tell, have a checkered history. Although this Q&A wasn't really bad, and I think it wasn't really that bad because it had a lot of questions people needed and deserved answers to, and we kind of got those answers in the Q&A and then within the patch notes yesterday.
You know what? Can I say one thing about that?
You're more than welcome.
I think for balance changes, which is one of the main points we were getting in this patch, it is so smart for them to have a Q&A rather than just the information from a PR standpoint. Exactly what I think Sly was implying, because people have questions, they're invested in their jobs, they care about their jobs. And I think them just being allowed to ask the question is already a step in the right direction, rather than here's the information, we're going to lay it out and that's it. You don't get to ask anything about it. So I actually really like that in regards to balance.
But in terms of and this is kind of speaking to the how good of a job the community team does in kind of taking these questions, because with balance changes, you're gonna have differing opinions,
definitely,
and then you're gonna have those people trying to stress those opinions who are on one extreme, let's just say, and they might not stress it in the kind of manner that you would hope someone would present a question to. So I feel like at times it's a double-edged sword, and it depends on the community, but the community team does a good job of kind of handling it and kind of putting it in a polite manner, so to speak.
Sometimes Yoshi P doesn't put it in a light manner. He goes, no. Here's a question.
Y'all need to calm down.
Yeah, calm your tits.
And you know what? I will say this. He's actually been somewhat right about some of those calm downs recently. Normally it's like calm down. We're like, I'm sorry, what? Although he has had some calm downs that are also along those lines lately. So let's not say he's 100% innocent. So with those balance changes, we'll get to those later. That's pretty much like the first 14 or 15 questions. After that, there's a lot of sort of little quality of life and UI mentions. They had the UI artist on the show, which is one of my favorite guests, actually, that they've had, because UI is something that's pretty important when it comes to 14, especially with these new job gauges. So I don't know. My favorite guest is still Koji, personally, because it's Koji.
Of course.
It's great. He's a great guest. So there's a few things that they're talking about for updates that are coming a little bit later, more quality of life related stuff regarding things like, for example, 24-man raid roulette. How long have we wanted a 24-man raid roulette?
How long have we wanted half the shit we wanted in the game?
I feel like people wanted that a long time, though. I've been hearing about that forever, yeah.
World of Darkness. Yeah. I think World of Darkness was when we started getting them, because people weren't doing the Crystal Tower or weren't doing Labyrinth of the Ancients.
Right.
They said it's
all the way back in ARR.
They said it's aimed for 4.1. I don't like that word because it oozes uncertainty.
It always does. Like they always say we're aiming for something, and then it kind of gets delayed or put back due to another piece of content or quality of life change.
Or it's too difficult.
The 24-man content in general is aimed for 4.1. Is what you're saying?
Yes, but they're also planning on this raid roulette that
coming out at the same time.
At the same time, yeah.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, and they even want to make adjustments to the party structure of Labyrinth of the Ancients, which makes sense because that's always been one of the deterring factors. Is Labyrinth of the Ancients requires 6 tanks? Requires. I should put it in quotes because it really doesn't. really doesn't require 6 tanks.
Yeah.
But putting it in the roulette it gets kind of weird when you have the one that needs this and then all the rest need the same thing. So some pretty good adjustments there. They're also talking about for PvP changes to the roulette for frontlines, this is one of my favorite things. Right now, it's Shatter or Feast, pretty much.
That's right.
Are your only options. So what they want to do is they want to do rotating game modes, like weekly rotating highlighted game modes.
I'm hyped. That's sick. So we're actually going to get to see the different maps and play the different modes and not just do shatter until our eyes bleed. Great.
Shatter
Way
is
to
my
go.
least favorite mode. I'm a Seal Rock guy. Seal Rock would be my go-to almost any time.
Yeah, I like
I
Seal
feel
Rock's
shatter.
cool. Seas is cool. I like Seas, I think, more than any of them.
Isn't Seas Seal Rock? I think Seas is Seal Rock because they all begin
What's
with
the-
S.
What's the domination one?
That's,
Where you just capture the different points that move around.
that's Seal Rock.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay. They all begin with
Thanks.
S. It's
Thanks.
all secure. Slaughter's gone. Secure. Yeah, they're all S's.
Yeah. No, you're right. Secure and Seas.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Secure is the one is level 51.
That's right.
In Cartno Flats, and then Seas is Seal Rock, and then Shatter is in Corthus.
Mhm.
And then Slaughter's bye-bye because they got rid of the deathmatch mode, which they know would be the most popular.
You see, we'll get these names down when we start doing anything besides Shatter again. So that's good. It's good. Step in the right direction.
Well, the big thing is the next PvP mode is coming at 4.1. And this next one only has 2 teams instead of 3. So what are they going to call this one? I think Siege, because they said it's going to have like vehicles.
Oh, it's probably Siege then, man. What else could it be? I don't know. Siege is too perfect. I'm not going to try to improve upon that. I think it's probably Siege then. Oh, you think it's going to be like a castle defense? Like you have static defense and things like catapults
Yeah.
to shoot against the vehicles?
Yeah.
They did say weapons, so yeah.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And that's one of those PvP modes that you kind of need to only have 2 teams because 3 teams defending bases and it's I don't know. I can't get behind that.
That'd get too crazy. Yeah, it's much better if there's just attack, defend, and then hopefully like it rotates or something, and then you.
Strand of the Ancients is where my mind immediately goes, which was an old World of Warcraft PvP map that operated similarly.
You know what? I didn't mind Strand. A lot of people did. A lot of people did not like it, but I liked Strand. It was cool.
I never had to actually PvP in Strand. I just grabbed bombs, brought them to the wall, grabbed bombs, brought them to the wall, and then we win.
The funny part is you were doing your job, and those people on the beach were not. So you said you never had to PvP, but hey, if people were focused on the objective, you would have been.
Yeah, I guess that's true. All right, so those are just a few points that they hit on first. Okay, this one makes me laugh, and Sly, I'm gonna ask you this first because I feel like you are the person here who speaks the most reasonably about gimmicky mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you are our go-to ever since Gordius. So
Okay.
someone asked if they could do the blow dart mechanic in Savage.
So
I got it.
You couldn't get enough of the active time event, so much so that you want something else. And we kind of joked about this in stream the other day of like, hey, let's just put a fucking jumping puzzle on Savage. Nobody would fucking clear. Really? See, this is why, Q&As kind of have a checkered past. Things like this. Why the fuck would you want this? Who the fuck would want this? This is 14.
The writer of question 20 in the live letter, apparently.
Oh God.
I gotta look at this. I gotta look at this question myself.
Okay, so then the next question is, if not there, does it go to the gold saucer eventually?
Yes, that's the perfect place for
But
it.
as long as we get this instead of Blitzball.
I thought Blitzball was confirmed.
Stop it. Stop it right now. Just
Chat, it's coming, right?
Stop it. Just we don't talk about it. We don't talk about that.
No.
Now let's go back to Kugane and jump up the tower, the hostile route again.
I still haven't done that.
Yeah, let's just do that instead because that's definitely.
Oh, speaking of which, yeah, we love that. Let's put more in the fucking game. Really?
What, more jump puzzles? I want more jump puzzles.
No.
Did you see how Sly looked at the camera when he said, "Really?" He's serious.
No.
Sly's heated.
Well, he's not playing Machinist, but yeah, he's pretty heated. All right.
Oh, okay.
Happy, just go to your corner. Just go
This
to your
is my corner. You're here in my corner with me. Who sent you to my corner?
This guy really asked a question about blow darts. You know what? I don't think they should put it in Savage. I think it should be in a dungeon or something, though. Like see how it does in a 4-man dungeon that they put out.
Put it in Deep Dungeon.
Like, imagine this though. Imagine in a dungeon, you walk in and there's a mass of enemies. Like, think in the main storyline quest, there's all the sirens, and if you don't do the sirens correctly, you have to fight a bunch of additional enemies, right? Imagine if you can blow dart some patrols, and if you do it correctly, you have less dudes to kill. But if you fail, it's going to be a whole room full of dudes coming after you.
I can tell you one
sick.
dungeon nobody will do after the first time they clear.
Yeah,
I think that'd be sick.
Being sick is
like,
fine.
I mean, there's Bardom's Metal, which was good. That was good.
Yeah.
There's that. Which would you rather do?
Bardom's Metal or the blow darts?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. It's tough for me.
That's a toss up for you?
Yeah, I think the blow darts would be cool. I understand question number 20. I get that guy.
I get it.
I get that guy.
I'm sure you do. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting
Were
on
you
the
Fahros?
YouTube video. Yeah, I feel like you're copping for yourself right now.
He says, "Were you that guy?" What's his name? Oh, it's Fahros. Fahros. No, I'm just kidding. No,
For us.
wasn't me, man.
Gotcha.
I mean, don't worry. I'm sure that the next time Savage comes, the Super Savage is just the only way to enter is to be on the top of the hostelry. You have to be there or you can't queue for it. And everyone needs to be there.
They just need to fucking blow up the fucking hostelry. Just blow them.
That's what would happen.
That's
next
terrorism,
match.
Sly.
I don't care. Care. Why would you make a place that
You really don't like
fucking
Kugane.
I don't. No. And then somebody's like, "Well, put a jump puzzle in Brawler. What are you gonna do? Land on rocks that you can't fucking see?"
No, you got to get up to his hand. There's already semblances of it. Like they're gonna keep building it
Why don't we die from fall damage?
because falling to 1 HP is we're the Warrior of Light. Fuck it, magic.
No, man. That jump puzzle would be
Punjle?
even cooler if you died and you were seeing people die from the hostelry all day. Just imagine a little Lalafell comes skyrocketing down, meteorites down from the top of the hostelry.
Meteorites?
And just explodes right in front of your feet. Are you telling me that wouldn't improve your gameplay experience? It would mine.
Dude, I guarantee you, some people's computers would actually blue screen if they had to process someone exploding people exploding as they jump off the tower.
Maybe they don't have to explode, but can they just die?
No, you already said they need to explode. That's how it needs to happen. It has to be
done.
like
I've
a
been
meteorite
quoted.
hitting the Earth. It needs to explode. All right.
I wouldn't complain.
Okay, so the next thing that I want to hit on from the live letter is inventory, because I've been really enjoying the extra 40 slots plus the extra 10 for all my armory. I'm still filling them because I'm an idiot, but I've been enjoying the bonus slots for my own recklessness. However, they said that unless they change the current way that data is processed, they do not think they can deliver on the additional 40 slots we're supposed to be getting later. Sly, you look like you're in full.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at it right now,
It's
and
question
it's
number
just
24, by the way.
like once we got it, I mean, I was happy, but again, it just felt incomplete because you see those little dots where there's supposed to be fucking inventory, where you think there was going to be inventory, and then like it's not like they're saying now that you're probably not going to get them.
Well, they didn't say we're not going to get them. They said that the way it's currently done, it would not be able to be done. They said it's not so far off, just not probably by 4.1 because they need to really rewrite the way that it's done.
Oh yeah, but it is not so far off. Well, that's fine.
Yeah, so 4.15 might be a reasonable.
Not so far off. Take that with a grain of salt.
Sly, Achy Glamours are not that far off. It only took 4 years.
Oh,
Exactly.
bullet, shots fired.
It only took 4 years. Oh man.
I think everyone's still happy about the increase to inventory we've got.
I mean, I was a fucking hoarder. Everybody knows me to be a fucking hoarder and having like tons of mats and shit and unnecessary. Yeah. I just recently had to fucking like do a clean. Oh shit, it's selling. Yay pods.
Maybe they'll use it as a selling point for people to come back and resub to the game. Hey, we've got highlight of patch 4.2. your remaining inventory slots. Welcome back, everybody. Sub numbers are up. That'll be it.
That's it. That's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, why not save it? It's the ace up their sleeve. You heard how the crowd was roaring when they were talking about increases our inventory in the first place. So, I mean, maybe they're just saving that for when they really need it. Maybe it's the card up their sleeve. I don't know.
Right.
Speaking of inventory, also, this question came up a while ago, and we figured they'd write it off because it means less dollar for them. But retainer inventory as well was asked if they could improve it. They said they want to get the other thing down first. They want to make sure that they properly program the differences between retainer inventory and player inventory. Make sure there's no data loss with the way that it's summoned when they add the new slots. And they said they're going to pay attention, how many retainers people are using, because they said most people don't purchase more. Most people just have the 2 retainers as it is because it's free, but they're going to keep analyzing that and see if it's worth increasing.
And then you have those
inventory.
crazy fucks who have like
8,
7 or 8 retainers, and they're actually full to the brim of shit.
I haven't seen one of those people. Whoa, 8 retainers?
Yeah. Those are usually the ones who, they're probably guild capped and everything, but yeah, 8 retainers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, I could live off the amount of I might get flamed for this because people always want more, but I could live off the amount of inventory and retainer space we have right now forever. So I mean, it'd be nice to have more, but I don't play a lot of jobs though, and I don't have a lot of crafts. So I feel like I'm like the average player who kicks a little above average amount of ass. But that's just me. So I could be fine on it.
I love that.
I could be fine on that.
Slightly above average ass.
Average ass. There you go.
Amount of ass.
That's not slightly
Anyway.
above average.
Anyway.
Amount is not slightly above average.
I said I kick a slightly above average amount of ass.
Okay.
I wasn't talking about my physical ass in real life.
Well, we are now.
This is fucking great, man.
What happened?
I don't know. You brought it there.
Fucking great.
What's the next question, Happy? Save us.
It went there. It's all right.
Yeah.
There we go. Great time to come back to the stream if you're watching us live, by the way. I didn't even check to see if the chat looks fine on screen. Okay, so another thing that happened today that was brought up over there in the live letter was they brought instances back.
Hooray.
Now, I thought they were only bringing them back for the locks because, Ixion is the problem with people not being able to enter the locks and finish the main scenario or gather. Nope.
Yeah.
Every zone got instances back.
Weird. They just can't make up their mind on it.
I don't think it's weird. Kind of think it's necessary.
Based on what
Especially-
happens when S ranks and Ixion spawns, it gets really bad for people who are just trying to play the game that aren't those people.
Yeah.
We've had entire instances go down. We've had entire servers that can't access a zone for hours on end because people are sitting there waiting for something to spawn. It makes sense. I just didn't expect it anywhere outside the locks.
I didn't expect it up to this point, to be honest.
You didn't think we were getting them back at all? I didn't think we were either. But I thought
didn't think
Ixion
we
might
were.
happen.
Yeah. I mean, for Ixion, maybe. I kind of agree with you for the locks. Kind of necessary for the locks. Every other zone I don't know about. The way they're treating congestion, the way they treated it before, where it was just a high populated server, so only Balmung and Greg got the kickoff and nobody else really got the kickoff. It's kind of weird how they're treating congestion.
But yet they're
right now.
bringing this to every server, as opposed to
Yeah.
the 2 servers that were having the congestion issues.
Mhm.
They want to be uniform across everything.
I mean, I love
Yeah,
it.
I can-
More hunts for everyone. I love it.
Yeah, more hunts. for
Yeah,
everyone.
no one's going to complain about that. And I think the key point is that people would complain about that had they not been uniform with it. So they'd complain about not having the more hunts.
I mean, I can kind of agree with it because when we kind of experienced the whole, not being able to load into a zone on fucking Behemoth, I would say it's a little bit necessary.
Yeah, I get it. That's cool.
So the big question is, Why does this expansion need this and none of the other ones did? To be fair, we really could have used instances in A Realm Reborn, but we didn't have them.
You know what it is? Do you know what it is?
What is it?
It's all the WrestleMania people. There you go.
That's my line.
It worked.
It worked.
The cosplays.
He did it.
Thank you, Xavier.
Xavier Woods, ladies and gentlemen. Heidelin's greatest warrior.
Do I have to read that from a prompt? They were playing. Oh, these are characters from Final Fantasy XIV. Wow, look at that chocobo. Oh, WrestleMania. That was hard to watch. That was hard to watch. Questions from audience. Oh, you know what? It's funny. So I just realized I'm looking at the Q&A on forums. After the one immediately after the one about the separation of field instances, it says questions from the audience has one post. So this means from just the live audience, I'm presuming, because they do have like 150 people in the audience while they're doing this. Because when I see questions from the audience, I think to myself, wait a minute, weren't all of these questions?
Yeah, that's what I thought as soon as you said that.
We're not the audience. No, we're not the audience. We're
so
watching,
we're
watching from Twitch.
They were user-submitted questions for the first half, and now we're getting into the audience ones.
The live audience ones. Okay, to be fair, the live audience. See, I feel like if you're gonna ask the silly questions,
Eno chains.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna ask the silly questions, this is when you ask the silly questions. And you want to know how I know that? Because read all these questions.
Is there one about butt sliders?
Are there any plans for a Namazu minion? Yep. Literally, they didn't even translate. It just says yep.
Yep, I see that.
Yep. They had actually already revealed it the day before. So asking that is like a day late, which is also another thing that happens here. As a turtle lover, I was concerned I'd feel strange that the adamantoid spins rapidly and emits fire underwater. And then Sly, come on, man, just get through this. I can see your face. Just
Why do you feel the need to define himself as a turtle lover?
Because he loves turtles.
Doesn't the statement or the concern work without being a turtle lover? I was concerned, and it feels strange to me that Adamantoid spins rapidly and emits fire underwater. That's the standalone statement. But he wants you to know that he is a turtle lover. That's this guy. All right.
Man or woman?
Right. Yeah.
And then you have probably my favorite question from the entire live letter, and that's, is there any reason why Xenos' scabbard spins so rapidly? And the answer was, it's cool.
There's a switch by his hand that rotates to the next sword. Wait, parentheses, I thought of this just now?
Yeah. I'm glad Yoshifi let us know. Oh, yeah, that's why we did that. But also, from the live translation, he literally just said out loud, yeah, it's cool.
It's cool.
Hashtag, it's cool. Sly, what game are you playing? There's not even a game in there. I can see the back. What, is it downloaded?
Yeah.
Then put the cover on the back, you fool.
Sly's literally playing his 3DS?
Yeah.
I can't take these questions, man. I can't do it. I can't.
Are you not a turtle lover?
That's what it is. Sly's one of those dudes that eats turtles. Turtle soup.
Oh, so he's Shredder. He's like a chocolate shredder.
You killing me, Pete.
Happy, maybe we should move on. Maybe we're beating the dead turtle with this one, all right? Maybe we should move on, man.
Yeah, let's
oh my God, not you two! God, person!
All right.
Jeez.
Okay, on that note, your chocolate turtles are delicious, by the way. I just want to put that out there. Okay. Bruh! Don't give me that. All right, so after this, they brought on the user interface guy, and I didn't really know what to expect from this half, but we got some pretty neat updates about some stuff eventually coming to the user interface. A simplified version of the job gauges that we have now. Some people just don't want the job gauges as they are. They want to have that information super condensed, basically.
So are they going to change it for everyone, or is it going to be an option?
It's an option. It's a toggleable option. A simplified UI for those who want it.
Cool.
And they're also
more is better.
They're also considering what job elements they want to consider maybe adding to the job gauges. So a good example would be Slyh. I know yours actually works pretty all right, Slyh.
Yeah, we're from.
But I think of it more like, so as a monk, for example, my stances are something that I have to go through. You know, every time I hit an ability, I have a stance. I have Grease Lightning and I have Forbidden Chakra, but I still got to look at my buff bar for stances. Realistically, you don't. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just that the information is in different places.
So you want something.
I personally don't think we need this, but that's kind of the thing they're talking. Or straighter shot procs. How you still have to. You have bloodletter procs that don't show on the UI. You have straighter shot procs that don't show on the UI for bards. But you have the pitch perfect procs. So why do you only have one of your 3 procs that pops up? You know, it's things like that they're considering adding to the gauges.
And again, for some jobs, it would be a little bit more optimal. For others, it's just kind of, you know, like it's pretty much, if it ain't broke, though, don't fix it.
Yeah, like Samurais, I think is perfect.
Yeah.
We have a few buffs we track outside of the interfaces, but that's fine. I mean, you're just putting them up with your combos anyway. So I think the Sen tracker and the Kenki tracker is beautiful. And I'm so glad they put it in, by the way. Like that, I think it would be much harder to track everything without them. So good stuff.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the job gauges these last 4 months. I still feel like I could just remove lilies from my screen, and that's about it. But
yeah, yep.
Have you played any White Mage? Fahros?
I have a 70 White Mage. It's 314. Yeah.
Oh shit! You actually geared and shit. Oh, nice.
Yeah. I played it quite a bit. I've done all the content on it. Save Susanoo EX. I don't think I've done Susanoo EX on White Mage.
It's so easy on White Mage. Trust me,
Really?
I'm a rescue master.
Oh jeez. I don't even use rescue. I don't even use rescue. I just use cleric stance instead. I feel like no one's using cleric stance.
If you play with me, you'll use rescue.
Okay.
Trust me. I don't think he knows what I'm talking about.
No.
You will know soon enough. I promise.
All right, good. I'll consider that an invitation.
Yeah, that's not an invitation you necessarily want to take.
Oh, all right. Well,
you'll see. I kind of, when I think about the UI, I do think about some of the UI elements. It's been kind of annoying, and they adjusted. Astros being a big one, where the party can't see your cards anymore. Like if I'm an Astro and I just duty finder or something, I have another Astro in the group. I can't organize my cards with them. That information used to be available to me. That's completely invisible. They're going to make it so those things are visible again, so you can properly organize the information. Do you guys have that issue at all, where you just don't have information about other jobs that you feel like you kind of used to have?
Not with the ones I play.
Same.
For me, it's just Astros.
I have a buddy who plays Astrologian. He might be in the chat. Sometimes he stands in the AOE. He's like, I was looking at my cards, and I just think like, you know, maybe he's tunnel vision, or maybe he's a new Astro. Maybe it's just his own thing. But yeah, maybe he's used to having some information that should be on screen but isn't. So maybe I should cut him a little bit of slack there.
Yeah, you know, it's another really annoying one. You don't know if your ninja doesn't have Huton. Other than seeing the buff wear off on them, or just never seeing them use it in the first place. Etherflow stacks is another one, another bit of information. There are pieces of information that are basically missing. I think only the Astro. Or actually, that's not true, because then if you have 2 scholars, you want to know the other one's Etherflow count. Yeah, I feel like there's more elements. They're looking to make it so that you can display those again.
Right.
One of my favorite things they said they're doing is they're finally going to split the buff bar and the debuff bar so you can move them separately in your user interface.
Oh, that means you can resize them separately too? That's awesome. That's a big deal. Anti-tunnel vision. Good call, Square Enix.
Honestly, I've been asking for 4 years.
Yeah, now no one has any excuse to DPS through Pyretic, you know.
No, they're still going to do that. Stop acting like that's going to do it.
They're still going to do it. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
Dude, when it comes to, because that's 04 normal, I know you're talking about right there. I honestly, I just heal through it because I don't trust anybody. I'm just like, fuck it, Medica.
You're asking people to stop attacking.
Yeah.
You're asking a group to stop attacking, really?
And I love what the fuck killed me? You didn't stop attacking.
You did.
I did stop attacking. You were running in circles while you were doing it. I've seen it happen a million times.
In circles. Not even standing still or running intelligently. Just running in circles.
They might be working on something similar for other elements of the UI too. The way it's displayed on enemies and the way it's displayed on the focus target. That way it's a little bit more clear when they have a buff versus a debuff. So we may see some separation of the UI elements. I was, again, like I said earlier, I was kind of surprised at how happy I was to have this guy on, because it was actually a lot of important stuff at first that we started talking about. Eventually they get into the whole, questions. Those questions, Sly's favorite type of questions.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find one for Slyh. Okay. So anyway, let's see. What do we got? No, Return to Evil East is something Slyh would probably like. Slyh, have you played any of the Evil East games? 12 or Tactics or
Tactics?
Play Tactics. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one.
It's my favorite game of all time.
Change the order of our link shells, where they revealed they're redoing the link shell system anyway because they have crossover link shells coming. So as streamers, I'm excited to have a crossover link shell. I don't know about you guys.
Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Expand our communities. They can't go to the foxhole, but they can at least talk to the people who do go to the foxhole, Slyh.
Yeah.
See, this isn't one of those questions. I found a good one for you. I'll keep looking.
No, that's so good because you meet so many people on stream and you want to be able to see when they're online, or even if they're not watching your stream, you want to be able to reach out to them to do content together. So that's so necessary at this point with the cross-realm party finder. I can't wait for that to be put in.
Here's the Slyh question. Okay, please tell us your biggest mistake in life and how you overcame it.
They asked Yoshi P that?
No, they asked the UI guy that.
Right.
That doesn't make it any better, though.
Yeah, what?
And I love his answer. He talks about how he didn't go to school and he lied to his parents about going to school, but he was making games. He was like working in game development, and then they found out, and he said that they wanted to kill him. He's like, I'm lucky I'm alive. He's like, it turned out okay, so I think it was a success.
Whoa! Loaded question. Your biggest mistake in life.
In life, they didn't just ask him like, what's your biggest disappointment in game development? What's your highest moment? What's your lowest moment? They asked him what his biggest mistake in life.
And what if it was a guy who had like a real problem with lying? So he's like, listen, I was out one night, I was drunk, lady wasn't with me, there were some honeys across the bar, and he just went into the whole story because he just could not tell a lie. Like, you don't ask people stuff like that.
Did Jim Carrey walk in and be like, do not go in there? Woo!
Yeah.
There you go. Completely different movies, by the way, but
that question cut deep a little bit.
Whoa.
There you go. Yeah. What else do we have? They asked them about like designing the maps, 2D maps versus maps that have the third dimension, the verticality, like Heavensward and Stormblood. And then the last question was, and this actually I think is another good one. Can you make lodestone announcements like available in game?
And I can see like where he was coming from in his answers. I feel like it would be something that would be difficult to do in game.
You don't know how many people just don't look at the lodestone though. I'd say 90% of Final Fantasy players have never once gone to the lodestone.
It would be so good to have it in game.
I feel like it would. I feel like it's a lot of work to put it in.
Yeah.
Do you think it would draw a lot more attention to the lodestone?
Yeah.
Not only to the lodestone, but to their other forms of content that they're trying so hard to draw attention to, like PvP. When a new PvP season comes out, you could have the leaderboard right there in the little pop-up for the lodestone, just like it is actually on the lodestone, and promoting those top-ranked players and trying to draw some excitement and draw some community into the PvP. So I think that would be so good if that could find its way into the game. A PvP leaderboard through the lodestone. That would be amazing.
For me, the big thing is they have all these lodestone features they put time, they put money into that so few people use. They've got blog posts. They've got your character information available. They've got achievements. They've got all information that people go out of their way to find or prevent people from finding anyway. And it's information that just be so much better placed in the game itself, if possible.
True. Let me ask you this. When is the last time either of you actually looked at a blog post?
On the lodestone or anywhere?
Lodestone.
A blog post?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not patch notes, it's just a blog.
And it's an individual player's blog.
Oh, never.
Yeah.
Never.
Never.
Like maybe a few times.
I've seen some Japanese blog posts because like sometimes they have like neat stuff in them, so like they get shared on Reddit and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. It's along the lines, if you really look at a few of the blog posts, it's along the lines of Reddit, and some people just, link it from Reddit to the blog post either way. I feel like that this change would kind of, I don't know, I would say take away from Reddit traffic. I mean, if it does,
Nothing takes away from Reddit traffic. The salt flows through the veins.
But there's a lot, like, in terms of like guides and things like that, there's a lot of useful information in certain blog posts, and I feel like this change would kind of be for the betterment of it.
It can literally only be for the better. And chat's talking about it. Chat's recommendation is a daily reward of tomestones if you go to the fucking blogs.
Oh goodness!
Don't give us more free chicken. God damn.
No, I've had enough. I want to earn my chicken.
Sly's so proud of hearing you say that. You don't even know.
You don't even know, man. Goddamn.
I want to earn my chicken. There you go.
We're there.
All right. So that covers a lot of the more highlight posts, even if some of them are a bit trolly. So we're going to move on from the live letter and talk about what the first half of the live letter mostly covered. And that's the balance changes in the 4.05 patch notes.
Yeah, boy.
So
Let's do it.
Since I'm just going to scroll down through the patch notes, a few quick things that they cover before the balance changes. You do have some new items that were added. The Lost Canals of Uznair, which I did get to do today and is way trollier than the Aquapolis, by the way.
Really?
Way trollier than the Aquapolis.
Oh, I can't wait.
There's a loading screen when you get the golden rainbow Jesus thing that pops up. You actually get a loading screen to like make you think you're being exited, and then it brings you back. You just have the little loading circle in the bottom right.
I love that.
And the way the doors close is so much different that like you really don't know. Sometimes they do fancy angles where it shows one side, then another side, then it zooms out, and it's actually really, really funny. It's so
I can appreciate a good troll. I can appreciate that.
How far did you make it, Abby?
The fifth. And we got a bunch of sheets. We got some grade 6 materia. We made a few 100K because we had gathered all the maps ahead of time, so it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And lots of crafting materials. So a lot of them only worth like 1 to 5K. But if you do like 8 maps in a row and you get all these materials, it adds up. Taoist wool as well from the map itself, like 170K. So a lot of really good stuff in the new Lost Canals.
Yeah.
But then we get into the job changes, and we thought Slyh, actually Dragoon was important because they didn't give us all the details on Dragoon during the live letter, so you got all of the rest of them here.
Yeah, we got them here. Yeah. Let's get to the other jobs before we.
Let's just go in order on the patch notes.
Let's do that.
So the first job is Paladin, which has been the topic of a lot of OP talk.
Right.
They saw a slight nerf to Holy Spirit of only 30 potency, which is barely significant, especially considering with the changes to Vitality accessories, them getting the extra strength from that, if they weren't using strength accessories before that is. And Oath Mastery no longer lose gauge when switching, which is a buff in itself. So they got a buff and a minor nerf. So minor that it does absolutely nothing to undermine the power that Paladin has accrued after years of discrimination. Do you guys think that do you really think they really needed the Holy Spirit nerf? Is there a reason that's in there, like in particular?
Yeah, I thought it was unnecessary.
I think it's just because of the strength on the Vitality accessories is the only reason why I think it's there, is to offset that.
Yeah, to offset it. Yeah. I think you're right. And I think this section right here, the first class, I think sets the tone for the rest of the balance changes. And that is, they have jobs right now that are performing well, that are strong, that people are having fun playing, that people are flocking towards, and they don't want to ruin that, and they don't want to nerf those classes. They want to do what I think is, I feel like MMO players have been screaming for this for years, and World of Warcraft players know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure each one of y'all in the chat have been burned by a patch before. And I just want to say kudos to Square Enix for finally saying, we've got our strong jobs. We're going to pretty much leave them alone. And we're going to take the ones that are below, and we're going to try to bump them up one leg at a time until we're happy with them, and the players are happy with them. So I was stoked to not see Paladin get nerfed that hard.
I mean, some jobs got burned. They just got burned on the Stormblood launch, not on
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair to say that, but at least they're trying to. I feel like they're trying to make up for it.
Yeah, and we're gonna see that with the next job, Warrior. And I've heard nothing but happiness from Warriors with these changes. So Defiance and Deliverance also don't have the half gauge. Now that was way more punishing for Warriors. Zeno last week talked in great detail. Why did that make you laugh? He was here last week and he talked. What is the problem?
Talk is one way of putting it.
Oh, that's right. He did tweet at us but in between the show and say, yeah, make sure not to ramble on and I'll make sure not to bully people in mine. Oh, okay. God damn. That was a shot at me. That was a good shot, Zeno. That wasn't even about... I thought that was about the podcast. I thought he was making fun of himself.
I thought you guys did great last week. Just throwing that out there. I really enjoyed last week's cast.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Now you're here.
Yeah.
There you
Funny how that works.
go. Yeah, Warriors are in love with that change alone. It gives them a lot of power back in terms of not needing to unnecessarily burn gauge just because they need to change. They have a lot more freedom now, which makes their tanking, like if they're in Deliverance and something happens and there's a tank buster coming their way and they got to switch to Defiance, Inner Beast, there's room to react there, whereas there was no room to react before.
Yes, exactly. If you reacted to something before you felt like you got punished, like maybe you should have planned ahead a little better, but you felt in the moment like you got punished for reacting to something, and that's never a good feeling for the player. Like I've been playing Warrior as my third job. I have it. I've been leveling it up. I had it at 50 already from ARR, but it's about it. I think I'm a little over 60 now, and man, I've been loving it. But that was like the only thing that it needed, and it got even more than that, in my opinion. So I mean, I'm stoked for the Warrior changes too. I'm so happy to see these.
Well, we also have, they just gave Storm's Path 20 potency, which is cool.
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
Potency's fine. Unchained and Inner Release both had their beast gauge cost removed, which again opens up a lot more possibility.
Still share a CD.
Yeah, which I think is, I know Zeno last week wanted them on separate cooldowns, pretty much.
Yeah.
But this is still pretty big. I think they cost 20 gauge before.
Was that they cost 20.
Okay.
Yeah. It was 20.
And that's 20 extra gauge you now have every time. So anytime these abilities come off cooldown and you use them, that's 20 gauge you've saved. So over 5 uses, I think they on 90? Is it 90 seconds or 2 minutes for Unchained and Inner Beast? I don't know.
Oh, I forget.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It's an extra 20 gauge, pretty much. At any point.
It's free damage. You turn that into damage.
Yeah, because that's how Warriors calculate their potency is potency per beast gauge. And obviously, with more beast gauge means more potency. In a sense. And then finally, we have a little knock at those who miss Bloodbath, or not even a knock, but like a little homage to those who miss Bloodbath on Warrior. You got it on Steel Cyclone, okay? You got it on Steel Cyclone heals you now.
I said in the chat last week, it is so messed up that my Samurai has Bloodbath and my Warrior does not.
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
Oh, that's disgusting. But yeah, I don't know. That's cool. It's cool.
I just think for dungeon runs, man, I do the first pull in Doma Castle.
Yeah.
that's why
awesome.
I miss Bloodbath on Warrior.
Yeah.
That's the reason. I'm sorry, Warriors. I miss it too.
So it helps. It's gonna help for sure.
Then we have Dark Knight, who got two seemingly small but fairly significant buffs. Soul Eater had its potency increased by 20, both in Dark Arts and out of Dark Arts, as long as it's comboed. And last time they got a 20 potency buff, it was massive. This isn't as massive, but it's still really good. But more importantly, Quietus restores own MP when you use it, which is a big thing. Anytime you give a Dark Knight a buff that gives them more MP, you know what that means? They look at their Dark Arts button, they go, one more.
Another one.
I don't know if it's MP per target, though, because I haven't played Dark Knight, or if it's just MP for using it. I'm sure our chat will let us know. And it's MP per mob, so chat just let us know. And it's not MP per use, it's MP per mob. So if you use that, if you drain yourself in a pull, an AoE pull, and then do that, you're back to full pretty much.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is, and so I think at 5 targets, it makes Blackest Night free or something like that, or maybe at one target it's free. I remember reading a few things, but it plays very heavily into Dark Knight. So just like their last change, Dark Knight have now gotten 2 incredibly significant quality of life changes. But Dark Passenger is still shit. Why are they leaving that ability as is? Why don't they just... What is it? Why do you hate Dark Passenger so much? I don't understand.
I don't know, man.
It's like the worst ability in existence. Miasma 2 is more useful than this shit, and they just put that back in the game.
Maybe Dark Knights just need to have something to motivate them to keep in touch with their dark side. They can't be happy and pleased with everything, right? Or else would they really be Dark Knights?
Yeah, they really need to grit their teeth and just deal with it. Seems to make sense there. Sly, what are you looking at? You look like you've just given up. He doesn't like dark side and grit puns, I don't think.
No. I don't even know why. Just goddamn.
It's your job.
I'm having a great time. I just want to say this is a fantastic show. I'm having a wonderful time.
Don't encourage him. No, we do not encourage the shit.
This is so much fun.
You never know when Sly's gonna jump ship. That was a Dragoon pun, by the way, because we're moving on to Dragoon next, Sly. It took him. He actually didn't realize it was a Dragoon pun.
He's about to get up, man.
Okay. All right. So, first things first, elusive jump reduced cast time from 60 to 30 seconds, and I feel like this is necessary because
60 to 30. You said 30 to 60.
Yes. Yeah. 60 to 30. Sorry.
Yeah.
I feel like this is kind of necessary because I've elusived out of more fucking mechanics than anything this expansion right now, and yeah, just to have that available more often.
Does it still cut your enmity in half? Did they get rid of that? Okay.
Well, I'd say yes, but then I ate Thunder 3 from Max Death, like once a tank died and tried to elusive out of it, and that might have been a timing thing, but I don't know.
Did you jump off the edge yet?
No. I mean, I'll do that whenever they're the run goes to shit, and and I'll just make it. I'm like, I'm gonna make this epic as fuck, and then just elusive off. Yeah. Blood of the Dragon duration increased from 15 to 20 seconds. I thought this was when I first saw it. I thought this was big because of transitions and phase changes. I really haven't tested it out too much yet to kind of be sure that it would, it kind of, makes up for a few things, but it does seem like a good change. This one I thought, I didn't know what
I didn't expect the Sonic Thrust change. I didn't expect that.
I did not expect it.
I don't even know what Sonic Thrust does.
It's AoE.
It's just AoE?
It's AoE.
Oh, so okay. The
thing about it is, so it increases your BOT by 10 seconds. And it's definitely useful in dungeons when you're just pulling everything and, pop BOT and you can do Mirage dives in between, Doom Spike and Sonic Thrust. Another, if you're in, this is just really fucking crazy. I don't know why you would do this, but if you're feeling really froggy and maybe shit's about to fall off and you don't feel like doing a three-part thrust combo to
get to the fourth,
just do a Sonic Thrust combo, two GCDs, and bam, you got 10 seconds on your BOTD.
That sounds useful, in between pulls or something, right? Like going from one pull to the next is what I meant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the big thing is it means that essentially you could, if you're going full speed on a dungeon run, you could literally hold I almost did it. I almost did the same thing I did. I almost said Balance of the Dead like I did the other day. Yeah, I said Balance of the Dead in the middle of the live letter. I was reading the stuff and I saw BOTT and I was like, oh, Balance of the Dead. Wait, that's not the name of the ability. Blood of the Dragon. I don't know where it came from.
Are you trying to make a new meme? Are you trying to make a new...
Well, I mean, here's the thing. All it is you give the Bouncer to Dragoon, and then they die. That's the normal thing.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense on them. What's it called? For me, you could basically keep BOTD up the entire dungeon from the set of the first pull all the way to the end, as long as you're constantly pulling.
Much. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
I'm one of those dungeon dragoons who fucking AoEs. I don't know why people don't AoE.
Dude, there's 7 mobs. I need to single target, clearly. If I
Yeah,
kill them
clearly.
off one by one, then the tank will take less damage while we're finishing off the rest of the pull.
But this makes dungeon AoEing more fun. Dragon Sight. Thank fucking Lord. Increased from 6 to 12 yalms. So
I'm still running out of range of it, Sly. I don't care.
That's the tether.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the tether.
Okay, cool. I've never broken it. I didn't know like it was that easy to break.
The thing is, okay, with Dragon Sight, I've always had 2 macros. I've had, the pug macro where I don't know who the fuck I'm gonna get, and it's basically like it's going to hit the closest person to me.
Oh, it's a Dragon Sight roulette.
The Dragon Sight roulette, basically. So you could get like you could get a fucking raid with 3 fucking red mages, and they all just jump back as soon as you pop them. Like, seriously?
Oh,
I mean, they're not gonna not use displacement, Sly. That's
they're not gonna not use displacement, but at the same time, they're like that kind of made the macro hard to use because there would be times when you want to hit sight and nobody's around you.
Yeah,
nobody's within 6 yalms and it won't go off. This definitely improves things, Dragon Sight wise and DPS wise. Lance Mastery, 70.
Okay, so again, I don't know. Same thing with Sonic Thrust. What is Lance Mastery? Because it's a passive, clearly.
Yeah, it's a passive for Lance Mastery. Basically, allows you to do back-to-back 4th and 5th finishers. The only difference is it adds on potency to those finishers.
Okay, all right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So basically, your 5th tier combo is now 100 potency more. Every 5th tier combo is a bonus 70 more potency than it was before.
So, and partially, here's the thing. This is great. All this is great, but still feels like a Band-Aid. And here's why. Like, this alone is fucking great because, hitting a 7.5K opener feels good, man. Feels so fucking good. But the reason why I still feel like this is a Band-Aid is because we still have that buildup. The buildup was never addressed. In terms of, getting your eyes of the dragon and then, going. Because once you hit that 7.5K, oh shit, you feel good. And then you start dropping. Like, even just doing your normal rotation, you start dropping. Yeah. And that was never really addressed. Animation lock after Mirage died.
Can you double weave with it now? Because a lot of people thought that's what it was going to mean. Or does it just mean you're not fucked when you use it?
I don't think you've ever really been fucked when you use it. I haven't. I still haven't really. I should have noticed that if I could double weave it. When I saw this, I was assuming that you could double weave it. I'm going to have to test it a little bit more tonight once I actually go into Savage. But yeah, I was under the assumption that this allowed you to double weave, but I haven't tested it yet. All in all, pretty good buffs for Goon.
Oh yeah.
Feels a bit better. Feels a little bit better.
I will say this also. I pugged 01 and I've pugged almost to like around 60% on 02 Savage. And there's no point where Life of the Dragon has a chance to fall off so far in those fights. I can't speak for 03. I can't speak for 04, but we will talk about 03 and 04, especially because Neo X Death is being streamed as we speak.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. But I was happy to see they gave Dragoon love, but I do think in terms of fun factor, Life of the Dragon could see just some long-term adjustments. It doesn't necessarily need to be an increase in DPS. It just needs, it's a matter of how fun it is and how rewarding it is to get to the end there.
But even with these changes, I kind of feel like, in looking at my numbers, I kind of feel like I can sort of compete with, the other, with the exception of Samurai. Samurai still fucking, eats everybody alive.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I'm glad they didn't nerf Samurai at all in any of this. They didn't nerf Samurai, didn't nerf Red Mage. No
Red Mage,
even, nothing.
That's amazing. Thank you, Yoshi P. Thank you, Square Enix.
Yeah. Ninja did see a slight nerf to Gust Slash. It's really minor, but one thing I will say as a monk is we were right there alongside ninjas on average in terms of efficiency, but their utilities were more higher valued by raid groups. So as a monk, I almost see that as like kind of settling a bit of a difference between us and them. because
Yeah.
they're still as good as they ever were. 20 potency on one skill, even if it's a skill they use a lot, is gonna put us on pretty much even, and they'll probably still be valued over monks in terms of meta, even if monk is perfectly fine as it is now in terms of output. But it was something super minor, and I totally agree with something really super minor for ninja and not all. Sly, what are you so worried about over there?
Mm-mm.
What do you mean?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right. Next up is machinist. Now, I don't think any of us know enough about machinists to talk about these intelligently. No?
Not me.
I will
Not
say
No.
every machinist I've spoken to, almost every single one is not happy with these changes.
Really?
Yeah. That's the general consensus.
Ooh.
So one big thing is you use cooldown a whole lot less, which is a lot of potency per GCD. You used to use it a lot more, so you had that potency per GCD very frequently. It's easier to stay between 50 and 100 now because it's only +5. It takes you forever. But that change alone makes it A, a little boring, and B, less satisfying because of less cooldowns. That's what I've seen. That's what I've seen mostly. People love Rook and Bishop Overload. They say that those feel really good to use now, and it's way more worth it to use them.
I bet. Look at the potency, they doubled.
But I think machinists are still not happy. I think a good machinist still performs well, and I think they'll perform well with these changes. But I don't think machinists are quite happy. I just won't say that there's. I won't say there should be this change or should be that change. I'll just say that machinists have told me they're not that happy with it.
Right.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So that's all. That's all we can say because none of us know it.
Yeah.
Same with Black Mage. Apparently, Black Mages fucking love their changes.
Oh, yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. I don't know how much that actually, like, I don't know what the implications of those changes are because they sound so minor, right? But my wife plays a Black Mage, so every time I do anything in the game, it's almost with a Black Mage, as long as she's off work. And she was really struggling with her DPS at first, and she wasn't doing too hot. Man, day after the patch, she's killing it. She's always second on damage, right behind me, and I'm like, dang, girl, all of a sudden you're sustaining like 3.8k, 4k on some fights. You haven't even really like you're not like putting in a ton of time into the game, and she's like, oh yeah, it makes the world of difference. But when I read the notes, I'm thinking, okay, like slight cast time reductions, MP cost reduction, like it doesn't really hit home with me. Like I guess it does the Black Mages in the chat.
Yeah.
Maybe they can talk more about that, but I just know that they're loving it, man.
Well, I'd like to point out a few immediate implications here. So Fire 4 and Blizzard 4 having their cast time reduced by 0.2 is the same amount as them getting, I believe, like 1,200 spell speed added on to those spells.
Really?
Yeah, because that's about how much it would have taken to reduce it by 0.2 seconds before. It's about 1,200. Whoa. So they basically, that's one of the big things. It got basically like a 1,200 spell speed equivalent of a buff.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, well, when you put it like that.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it starts to come a little bit into perspective. But from what I'm understanding, because of all the MP cost reductions, they can fit more Fire 4s than they ever could before. And because they're coming out even faster, it's way more efficient than it was. They've said to me it feels incredibly significant, the changes that they finally received.
Awesome.
I don't know if it's all of what they needed. I think some are still not happy with Blizzard 4 and Umbral Hearts. But I don't know that. I've just not heard anything positive about Blizzard 4 or Umbral Hearts. You all right, Sly?
Yeah. I'm just looking ahead.
You're looking ahead? Sly, stay with me here.
I haven't touched my
Are you watching Neo X Death right now? Or is that what you're doing? Okay. Because Layla's literally streaming Neo X Death right now.
Don't tell me that. I'm going to go look.
Well, now he's going to be stuck watching it. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get to
I got you, Hap.
We're going to get to talk about Neo X Death in a little bit. Summoner changes, just a little quality of life. So if they hit an invuln target with an ability, they don't get screwed out about Bahamut. I don't think that's actually. I think summoners do need some changes, not necessarily buffs, but changes. And I don't think this is satisfactory. So I'll be looking at 4.1 especially for summoners. But then White Mage.
Yeah.
That's where I was looking.
Yeah.
Woo. Well, before we get into Plenary Indulgence, with Secrets of the Lily, with Cures actually giving 100% lilies every time.
Awesome.
Does this really make, for happy, does this really make any difference to you?
So the only thing that means is that you now no longer need to because you ignored Cure 1 before. There was no reason to use it. If you could guarantee 100% you would get a Lily on a Cure 2 and then Divine Benison or then get a cooldown reduction. There was no reason to use Cure 1. And your MP you're so MP efficient that there's no reason not to Cure 2 because there's almost never a situation where you're like, well, I guess I'm going to run out of MP, better Cure 1. It just didn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So the fact that Cure 1 has it doesn't... if it was already so good with Cure 2 before, this basically just means you have slightly more MP efficiency. You can now more regularly fish for free Cure procs on top of getting lilies at the same time. You also don't need to burn as much MP if you just want the Cure for the lily to like Divine Benison a tank for a tank buster. It's It's more MP efficient for that as well. So overall, it increases their MP efficiency by a pretty reasonable amount, even though it seems like such a simple change. For me, the bigger change is in Plenary Indulgence, though.
Yeah.
The previously useless level 70 skill.
Oh,
useless.
Damn. He went out and just said useless.
20% chance of proccing it on only Cure 1 and Cure 2. And the potency was great. Like, if you got a proc, again, it was MP efficiency. You took a Cure 2, and then you had the Plenary, and great, you would use the Confession instead of using a Cure or a Cure 2, and that's increases the MP efficiency of your cast. But it's completely random. I don't want all these...
Yeah.
I don't want this 50% proc on Cure 1 and then 20% proc on Plenary Indulgence and then 20% proc on Secrets of the Lily 2, which still has, and that's based on a crit. There's all these elements. It's just, why are they all on White Mage? White Mage isn't an RNG job. You're never going to rely on those elements.
That was the problem with me. Exactly what you just hit on. Because, like, I'm all for having interactive jobs where you have these different things to keep track of. But the fact that it was that random, I think it really was so overwhelming just to try to keep track of just to try to keep track of to the dot, like to the moment you're getting the lily or to the moment that you're getting the indulgence, that you try to squeeze it in at the most optimal time. I think it was so overwhelming and so frustratingly random that people were just like, well, I'll just occasionally glance at the button and, oh, I have it. I guess I'll use it. Cool. And I feel like that's kind of the attitude White Mages had with it. At least that's how it was for me.
Agreed.
And it didn't feel good, that being your level 70 skill. It didn't feel good at all.
It felt really bad. Like, Astrologian pulls cards for their fucking job, and I felt more RNG than that.
Yeah, it's bad, man. It feels bad, man.
So Plenary is now a supplementary AoE healing tool as opposed to a supplementary single target. It was always a supplementary AoE tool, but you could never land it on more than one person.
But you didn't get to use it that way, right?
Yeah.
So now it only procs on Medica, Medica 2, and Cure 3, which hits on one of the main things with White Mages that I didn't like about Lilies originally, is that there was no interaction with most of their other spells. This starts to remedy that. It's also a 100% chance of getting the Confession stack, but it doesn't last as long.
And I remember saying this, that there would be kind of some trade-off with like what they would do with Confession stacks. Either, buff it and reduce it. And I think that's what it said, literally. Buff it and reduce it.
Yeah.
Reduce seconds. So
yeah. And they also brought the healing potency down because they don't want it to be ridiculously overpowered unless you're like chain healing.
Yeah.
But they didn't bring it down by much, though.
No, they brought it down. I mean, in terms of how many targets it hits, it's technically an increase because if you're hitting 8 targets, it's 150 potency across 8 people as opposed to 400 across 1 person, most likely. So in terms of its overall output, it's way higher because it's in an AoE. So that's why they brought the per heal potency down in exchange for hitting more people. And again, it goes back to White Mage's main theme of being a pure healer of MP efficiency. Once a minute, your Medica, Medica 2, or Cure 3 is now this much more MP efficient. All you have to do is calculate out how much MP you're spending on the potency you're spending on your AoE heals to figure out exactly how much MP per potency you just gained on this, which is going to make it even harder for them to run out of MP than it already was.
Right.
So
right.
It's an insanely powerful ability because they brought the cooldown up to a minute, but that's fine because you probably don't need it more often than that. Would it be nice to have every 30 seconds? Yeah, but then it'd be OP as hell.
Yeah.
Way better the way it is now than it was before.
So White Mage still best healer. That's all we're saying. That's all I'm hearing.
I mean, pure healer, at least in a sense.
Best healer.
And they can also they can get confession stacks. The healer themselves also gets confession stacks. They didn't used to be able to get confession stacks on themselves before.
Right.
So overall, Massive change to the ability. It makes it far more useful. And Secrets of the Lily gets another MP efficiency buff as well.
Yeah, I think most people are pretty hype about that. I still don't think it's as like that. I hate to use the same word twice, but I don't think it's as hype as some of the other 70 abilities in the game. But I think it's an awesome fix for what they already had in the slot for the 70 abilities. So I'm happy with it as a white mage, as just like a secondary white mage player for sure. I think it's awesome.
Yep. But that's not the only thing that healers had to deal with, because we got Scholar on the list next.
That's right.
Boy, yeah.
So Scholar got some loving. Emergency Tactics has cooldown brought down, which means higher burst healing on single targets and AoE, 10 seconds more often. So, you know. Indom had its potency buffed by 100, which is significant, something that Scholars, you know, verbatim wanted. They wanted Indom's potency up. XCOG had its potency brought up to 800, so it's worth using over Illustrate, which was the problem people had with it before, is it wasn't really worth using over Illustrate all that much, or in exchange, or it just competed too closely with Illustrate. Its duration is longer, and its recast is longer, but we'll get into, or its recast is shorter, we'll get into that in a little bit. Fey Union, still shit, but its range is increased by 5. And the Fairy Gauge had some tuning up done so it doesn't waste as much. Ether Pact just means it's the same thing with Summoner. If they like hit a target and it takes no effect, they'll still get Fairy Gauge, even if it just takes no effect. The big thing is quickened Ether Flow. So this trait before was a 20% chance when using an Ether Flow stack to shave 10 seconds off your Ether Flow cooldown. It is now a 100% chance to shave off 5 seconds, which means they get 3 Ether Flow every 45 seconds as opposed to every minute. In a 3-minute encounter, that's an entire extra 3 stacks pretty much.
Yeah.
That is quite significant in terms of power, in terms of output, in terms of MP efficiency, in terms of everything. You have access to some of your strongest skills far more frequently than you did before. My big thing is the MP efficiency, though, because Scholars have been hurting on MP more than the other 2 healers, and that's my favorite thing about that change. I still think they could do with that Embrace. I still think the Chocobo memes versus the Embrace memes is still way too true, and the Chocobo... My Chocobo healed me for 10.6k the other day. I've never in my life had a fairy... I've never in my life had a fairy fucking heal me for 10k. And I'm not saying it should heal me for 10k, but that's stupid.
Yeah.
And also, another thing is it actually makes dissipation more useful. I believe most people are abusing about a 15-second... Oh, yeah, because if you dissipate, you get 3 more Etherflow stacks, and you can bring the cooldown on Etherflow down even more. So it increases the efficiency on dissipation as well. So overall, huge buffs. Really good buffs for Scholar.
Pretty good buffs.
A good Scholar...
Baller status achieved.
Yeah, I still don't think Scholar's going to be 100% happy, even though they also got Miasma 2 back. Who's really happy about that? Fucking Miasma 2, dude. I think it's still 10 potency also, like, for 5 ticks. I think it's still, like, the same shit potency it was before.
Oh, goodness.
So, have fun. Enjoy your Miasma 2, Scholars. And Astrologian, they finally did it. They nerfed the balance.
They did it, man.
They nerfed the balance. Why did they need 4 extra weeks? But how did they not determine from, like, 3.4 to 4.0 that needed to happen? But in the last 4 weeks, they finally said, you know what? Let's fix this. Also, Miasma 2 was buffed to 25 potency, so it is a lot better.
Hey! Nice. Yeah, but the sun has set on balance, man. Single target down to 10% from 20.
And AoE down to 5%.
Yeah, the AoE. Now your single target is what your AoE used to be.
Yeah. Which is how it should have been. I don't know why they buffed it to 20%.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was really strong.
Was it really that bad, though?
Yes. Yes, it was.
I just liked having it, though. You know,
Yes.
Everybody liked having it. Of course you liked having it.
Yes.
It started at 10%. It's back at 10%.
BPS. Why are you the only one complaining?
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of blasphemy.
Because
like,
I know.
It was ridiculous. All you did was fish for bounces, and if you didn't get a bounce, I was like, well, fuck this. I'm out. No one gave a shit about any other card. It was too strong.
It's true.
Wait,
It's true.
What about the ball, though? What about the ball? People get
That's
shit
how
out of balls.
Astlogs became even more of a thing. And then They also did something I didn't expect. They fixed the spear by changing it completely.
Mm-hmm.
The spear
Good
is
for
now
them.
10% crit rate on single target, 5% on AoE. As a monk and as an ex-bard, thank you.
Yes, thank you as a samurai as well, because the spear was the speed one, right?
Spear was the one that if you used an off-global cooldown while you had the spear, its cooldown was reduced.
Oh, so I just never got that one at all.
So well, yeah, because they were fucking throwing them to the ground. That's why you never got it.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It's now, I believe, people mathed out the second strongest card in terms of DPS increase behind balance, but of course it has more implications on job that scale with critting. So it's quite strong. Bard and Monk benefit from it quite highly. And Arrow with speed is the one you were thinking of.
So, right. It does not just give critical hit chance, it increases your critical hit rate by X amount, right? It says right there.
Yes,
I feel like I misread it the first time.
It increases critical hit rate by 10%.
So that means that is going to scale into your crit damage because it's your crit rate going up.
Any buff that gives you critical hit rate doesn't affect your character sheet. Your character sheet critical hit rate is the only critical hit rate that's going to increase your critical damage output.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so that's less good than I thought then.
No, but it's still fucking fantastic because
it's still great. It's still great. No complaints, but it's less good than I thought. That would have been actually. I thought it was going to have a chance to rival balance for single target, especially in openers, if it scaled your crit hit damage up. I was talking with my astrologian about that.
Ultimately,
but no.
I have such a problem with so many cards being about damage output because ultimately you want the one that gives you the most damage output, and then the other ones, well, they can be okay to have. It's just like you're all competing for the same goal.
Right. No, I could see that.
I feel like these encounters kind of merited these changes, though.
I mean, so here's the thing. An arrow is good if you need to hit a lot faster to kill a target. A spear is just, it's crit. It's crit, all right? You're never going to, it's RNG. It's not reliable, but it's good to have to increase procs and stuff. And balance is damage. It's just damage. It's flat damage. You know what I mean? So, it's like I'm always going to take flat damage over anything else in almost any scenario.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I still have a bit troubled that they have so many cards competing for the same exact thing. But it is what it is, and it's better to pull this now. Maybe they just want it that way, so if you don't pull the bounce, you don't whine.
Yeah, like you have it's like your plan B. You've got your plan B. If you don't get the money, it's okay. People are still getting in their DPS increase, so why not?
Yeah.
And then Lightspeed had its passive change to also be like kind of like quickened ether flow every time they essential dignity. Lightspeed's cooldown gets dropped by 10 seconds. Consistency is all that it really did. They also added Miasma 2 for Scholars, which, as we said, just to be 100% clear, 100 base potency, 25 per tick. That is what the new Miasma 2 does. So it's far better than the old Miasma 2, which was, I believe, no initial potency and 10 per tick. And it was like 50 potency total over 15 seconds. Oh, man. But now we get into the fun stuff. Because Omega Deltascape Savage was added today. And
Can't wait.
As we speak, there are groups progressing on the final encounter, and we will get to talk about that in a couple of minutes. So first, have you gentlemen had the opportunity to step inside yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I have.
Well, after this podcast.
After the podcast.
Tell us about it.
Yes, please.
So, I can only speak on 01 and the first 40% on 02 Savage. My static disbanded a month before Stormblood, so I'm pugging. Pug life, boys.
Pug life.
Good for you, man. At least you're still getting it in.
Giggity. Anyway, I had to go there, Sly. So I pugged 01 Savage. First group had a lot of deaths, a lot of things that need to be recovered, and we never cleared it in the first group over 2 lockouts. But we got it down to 7%. Second group, nobody had beaten it, but it was a clear party. One-shot it. 01 Savage in that first pull on the second group.
Besides your story, the only story I heard was when I kind of logged on as the patch came up. Because we didn't have our full group because people had work and everything. New static. We were doing normal just to get like a few more pieces and everything. And we got to 3 normal. And this was like maybe 20, 21. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to get gear and shit, just kind of help. And this was like 20 minutes into the patch. Yeah, they've already cleared 01. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, O1 literally got killed in one poll by some groups.
Yeah.
So O1 is literally the same fight, but there's no walls. It's not action for action the same fight. Like there's somewhat stricter placements on everything.
I'm sure.
It is almost basically like, honestly, my guide is gonna be like 3.5 minutes for O1 Savage.
Do you guys want to talk at all about that?
Yeah.
About the fact that it's that difficulty level and people are run. I mean, okay, nothing. I'm not saying the players aren't amazing players, but they're walking in and one-shotting a boss. No guide. No nothing. They've done the normal mode and they walk into a savage. I know it's the first boss of the first tier of the expansion, but they walk into what is called it is termed as a savage difficulty encounter. And I'm not trying to hate, but I'm just saying, do we want to how do you guys feel about the difficulty scaling on that?
I mean, I can't speak on it myself because I haven't gone in.
Right.
But we're going to talk about the time comparison, the amount of time it took for it to be cleared. I mean, I kind of get where you're going. It kind of brings back thoughts of Zervan and how it took like 10 minutes for them to clear Zervan. Was it 10 or 20 minutes for them to clear Zervan EX? Difficulty scaling was progression was said to be a thing.
Yeah.
If this is the case and people are on 04 and still on it, then they really didn't lie because people are still on 04. So yeah. So
when we get to talk about 04, I can't wait to talk about 04 Savage.
So I guess mission accomplished.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Sorry, with the difficulty scaling that you're referring to, or the progression, I forget the exact term you used. Is that supposed to be difficulty just between the tiers, or across all the future tiers as well?
All the future tiers. So, to be clear, though, it doesn't mean 05 will be harder than 04, but it means that on the average difficulty across the 4 encounters will increase as we go along, because people were complaining that Gordius was the hardest, Midas was the easier, and then Crater was the easiest. So they want to go in the opposite order, but they're not going to take it up to Gordius level, most likely. It will be a more steady progression in terms of the overall difficulty of the actual entire raid tier.
So the overall difficulty of the second tier of raiding is supposed to be in between that of the first and the third. Yes. That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's boss numero uno, and he gets one shot. So maybe that's not the end of the world. It just feels bad to me that it's something about it rubs me the wrong way, man. It's called Savage, and
do you think it speaks to the skill level of the people who are doing the world first race?
It's probably unfair.
They've gotten better and better.
Criticize.
They've gotten better and better over years. That much can't.
Yeah.
Since Gordius, there's been almost no way to 100% satiate the people who participated in that, just because of the sheer difference in what was required of Gordius versus what is required of content nowadays.
Right.
And Gordius almost destroyed our game's rating community overall. They don't want that at the beginning of Stormblood.
I understand.
Yeah. I would also like to say I find this fight more fun than the creator's first A9 Savage. I had a lot more fun doing this, as much as it wasn't crazy. But I was also pugging.
Fucking dummy.
No, it's a little bit more. You do have to stack in the right places here. It is easy to basically get one shot, but think of it like you could get one shot, but then the group would res you, and you could probably still beat it, kind of one shot.
So you're saying it's forgivable? It's forgivable. It's a lot for.
It's forgiving. It's forgiving. The 01 Savage. But overall, totally puggable. As long as you have a basic comprehension of the normal mode fight and you pay attention a little bit to the orb position. So if you were afraid of raiding, this might be the first time you feel comfortable enough to even just try in the first place.
And that's a good message to send.
Yeah.
Accessibility, yeah.
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 Then I went into 02 with the same pug that one-shot it on 01. And 02 does start to scale up in terms of the damage output, in terms of what's asked of people. This is one of those fights you will never walk into blind and have any idea what the fuck you're doing.
Really? It's that much different.
You can't blind go into this and win.
Good.
Right.
The main reason being, there's no way you can know when you need to be levitating before you get to the point where you see the mechanic that comes after you've already started levitating.
Oh.
So, if you just hit the levitate, in normal mode, you just hit the levitate button 90% of the time, and there's only a couple mechanics that would punish you for that. Here it's
Right.
like, if you do that, you're fucked. You're going to die, and you're going to screw
Good.
everyone else.
Good.
Yeah, and kind of had a feeling that it would go that way. So
Yeah.
I kind of get what you're saying of having the prior knowledge of normal
Yeah.
going into Savage. Yeah.
Knowledge is key. In 2 and from what I understand, 3 and 4 are also knowledge is key, because you can very easily screw yourself out of something later by doing something wrong earlier. One of the big things with O2 Savage is also it's very similar to Sephiroth in terms of its punishment for someone being dead when a mechanic comes out. A lot of mechanics specifically target tanks and healers, or specifically target the DPS. And if one of them is dead, it's got to pick someone on the other side to target with a mechanic. And if your positioning is like, well, this tank and this healer needs to go here, and then one of them's a DPS, and that DPS has never done that mechanic before, and then every time it could be a different DPS.
Right.
It starts to fall apart if people slip up too many times.
That sounds fun to me. And so even as early as O2, they're already expecting everyone to know a little bit, if not a lot, and be on point. You see, that's what I'm about. I like that. I can't wait to get into that one then.
Yeah. And I will say this, it's also a fun fight. I don't feel like the levitation mechanic is too gimmicky. It is, but they make it a fun type of gimmicky. A good example is in normal mode, you're risen to the top level and you have to split a mechanic there. In Savage, you have one that's on the higher level and one that's on the lower level. And you need to have the requisite number of people in each of them, or you get punished with a vulnerability stack. So you need 4 people up and 4 people down.
Oh, you have to use all 8 people too. Cool.
Yeah, on 2 different stack mechanics. You could stack both of them right on top of each other, but they're on different elevations.
Gotcha.
So it creates a difference. And there's a lot of mechanics. And then also to lower people back to ground level, you need to stack up on people that are marked to actually lower people with 100 Gs. So
oh, wow.
there's significant changes to O2 over O1, while it's still feeling very similar to O2, but it's definitely a step up compared to O1 Savage versus O1 normal. You can tell what was you getting your foot in the door versus you actually starting to kind of have to pick up, ideas and strategies and update things pretty well.
Man, I'm getting hype hearing all this. Just keep talking.
The thing is, item level scaling on it is still not that high. With item level, you're going to shit on this fight just like you would O1 Savage and over the weeks. But ultimately, mechanically, you still want to perform things in a certain way.
Right.
I suspect that some people will have some trouble with it, but more organized statics won't have any trouble with it because they're kind of used to that stuff. It goes at a slow enough pace where organized statics should be able to pick things up pretty quick. Then you have O3 Savage. That's where for a lot of people it begins.
Oh man.
So we were all thinking that it would be O2. No, it's O3.
No, O3 is where it picks up. O3 is the where the average item level to enter is 320, and that is shared with O4. That average item level.
So you wouldn't call it a wall.
I wouldn't call it a wall, but if your DPS isn't up to par, you're not beating it in the first couple of weeks. You'll want some gear before you do it. Because even the experienced groups that are on O4 right now, a lot of them had some really close to enrage wipes. A lot of them killed it during enrage casts. So you might not beat it this week if your DPS isn't up to snuff, but with a couple of weeks, you'll overcome that, and then it becomes a purely mechanical encounter. Yeah. So I guess the big thing there, the sand puzzle's gone.
What?
They got rid of the sand puzzle.
No ant lions? You called it, man. I was rooting for you on that one.
There's no sand puzzle. Instead, what they did is they did other mechanics from Final Fantasy V, where you go to the library and you go to the jungle. They basically used all the other Final Fantasy V areas of the interdimensional rift, which is what the sand puzzle was referencing before, the first area of the interdimensional rift. And there's mechanics based on those.
Oh, dang. Do you ever go into one solo? You gotta kill a thing on your own?
What she does is she changes the playing field to match the zone.
Okay.
So she'll change the playing field to a forest, and then she'll change the playing field to a mountain, and then she'll change the playing field to the library, etc., etc. And then if you she summons one of the bosses from the interdimensional rift as an ad, the Apenda. You might know him.
He was in Great Google.
Yeah, he was in the other libraries, in Google Library, but he was also a boss originally in Final Fantasy V's library in the interdimensional rift. And so he spawns as an ad, and then he's got his own mechanics. So a lot of Final Fantasy V references with that boss, and a lot of things that, again, if you have people who are designated to get hit by a certain mechanic, and they're dead, starts to fall apart a little bit. So it's very similar to O2 in that, again, because that remains a theme. O2, O3, and O4 are all very similar to Sephiroth in terms of letting you know you done fucked up. While not making it a complete wipe, it's harder to recover than O1 is, at the very least. So that's all I'll say about O3, because O4, holy shit.
So I've only heard stories. I haven't seen. Is it cool to talk about this? Like, we're not. I mean, obviously we're spoiling stuff, right?
No, we've been talking about it for weeks. We talked about the rumors that Neo Exdeath would be the final boss based on data mining. We talked about.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but we now have some very solid details on the O4 Savage encounter.
So, I haven't seen it yet. I just heard you're fighting the boss. Something happens. You kill him. And then he comes back as Neo Exdeath.
So here's the thing. The first 40% of Exdeath's life bar is Faust.
Right. Yeah, right. You just have to pass 60% before the meteor, or else you wipe.
What I mean by that is, though, once you get Exdeath under 60%, Neo Exdeath's the actual boss. You just keep respawning the encounter at Neo Exdeath. He is the actual boss, and Exdeath is the fucking Faust of O4 Savage.
Imagine the first people that saw that, if they didn't already data mine it, and if they didn't already know, that would have been such an exciting transition, man.
It's funny to me that Exdeath is his own Faust.
Yeah, I know. It's like you never would have expected it. Bamboozled again.
Yeah.
I think it's cool, though. So he has his own life bar. It goes to 100%, right? And it's its own full encounter.
It's its own full encounter. It's not like you have to get Exdeath to 40% every pull and then he switches. Once he's Neo Exdeath for the rest of the fight. It's very similar to Diablos in what's his name? Diablos Hollow in Dunscaith.
Yeah.
It works exactly the same as that. Diablos is his own trash, pretty much.
I like that.
And people are getting massacred on Neo Exdeath as we speak.
Yeah.
Just literally constant death and destruction as we see it now.
I think this bodes well. In terms of when we were talking about a little while ago with rates of clears and the timings of the clears, I see this being cleared this week. I don't see this having a gear gate. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of mid-core groups will feel a little bit gear gated, and will probably have to get some better gear and melds and shit to maybe clear it. But this kind of bodes well, I think.
If you're curious what the phase transition looks like, by the way, someone posted a link of it in the chat.
I'm gonna check that out.
In case you're curious, because it's pretty badass.
I'm gonna ask a controversial question.
Okay.
Slyh. Don't worry, by the way, Happy. It's okay. Slyh.
I trust you not to go actually controversial.
I ain't going actual controversial. Slyh, you said you think it's going to be killed this week.
Yes.
Do you want it to be killed this week?
Think very carefully about your answer, Slyh.
I expect it to be killed this week, but I mean, I really love the days of old when we were waiting how many weeks for them to kind of clear the fourth fight of each tier to kind of finish the race. I kind of miss that. I really do. So I'd have to say no.
Man, I wish you would just slay raid groups for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I know people get mad, and I would be smiling just reading all the salt, reading the Twitch chat. But I feel like I don't know if chat actually agrees or not, but I feel like, isn't it something like cool and powerful to look forward to, like a boss that is just slaying your community's most badass raiders? Like, isn't that something to get a little excited about?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think so.
So for me, my big thing is I don't give a shit how long a world first groups if I'm not one of them, because it's not my experience, so I don't give a shit. It's cool, but I don't fucking care. I only care if I'm the one competing.
He says I don't fucking care.
Because that's not my play experience. I'm not playing right there. That's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not the one currently in O4 Savage. So what the fuck does it matter to me if they beat it fast? Who cares?
Fair enough.
It's fun to watch, and it's an exciting race to see who will beat it first. But for me, I kind of agree with the idea that a race is a race, not a fucking marathon.
Okay.
But for you, it doesn't speak to actual difficulty or anything
Something
like
can
that.
be something can be mechanically difficult without having to gear check you. But what ultimately the reason why fights sometimes take forever to beat is because they're gear checking you. They're not checking how good you are. They're checking how long you've been trying to get gear versus how good you are.
And that's what people hate, right? The gear checks, because they just feel like artificially they're being held back. Is that what the argument is?
I mean, to some degree, yeah, but it's also just when you do world first and you slog on a boss for weeks and weeks. I mean, at some point, something's just not fun anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got it.
Yeah. Gotcha. And as someone who did A3 Savage and A4 Savage in an attempt to do World Prog, we almost got our World 3rd A3 Savage. We ended up getting World 6th before Weapons came out. A4 Savage fucking blew chunks. And I would never want that experience again because that was 5 fucking weeks of hell. Like, people just started going on vacations while we hadn't even beaten it because we're like, I'm not going to fucking plan my next month and a half around this bullshit.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stream. I'm looking at the delay right now, and you look so upset just
I am upset. I am upset. A3 Savage was perfect because I'm 100% confident that with perfect execution, it could have been beaten the first week with no gear the second week. The second week, it was still beatable with barely any sort of major jumps in item level. That was like the perfect place, I feel, for an encounter to be. The problem was that it was incredibly unachievable to your average raider, but that is like the ultimate. It was just barely gear checked to the point where the gear you had was perfect for getting through everything, like flawless execution. Like,
I get behind that.
But then if you get shit like A4 Savage where it didn't matter how well you executed it, you were fucked for the next few weeks. That was it. Midas took about the same time. It took like 2.5 weeks. People got to the final boss on like the first week, and then they spent 2 weeks there because it was just gear checked and it was a mechanical vomit. So there's so many different ways to look at it. That's the way I look at it. If they beat it, if this gets beat tonight, cool. That's it. I'll watch a cool kill video, and then I'll move on with my life.
Fair point.
And then I'm going to go fucking Puggo to Savage. That's what I'm going to go do.
Right.
I don't know, but it just feels like in comparison to you, Happy, the majority of the community feels, they feel a certain type of way when we see content getting cleared this fucking quick, and they immediately go to, well, this shit isn't hard. This isn't what
they haven't
even though they didn't do it.
They don't even do the content and they say that.
Right.
They say that. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback with it. And
Yep, it is. And that trickles over to a lot of the community and a lot of the talk on forums and when games get
the whole
advertised.
Meta conversation. The meta conversation trickles down to people who are doing 800 DPS and then blaming their fucking machinist for not being a bard.
It does. But it's something worth considering. How it ripples throughout the MMO community, I think. And I think there's something attractive. I think there's something seducing about a boss that is just slaying kids. Nobody can beat it. Even though the experienced people will be like, well, it's just a fucking gear check. We just don't have enough gear. But then the skeptics will be like, well, maybe they just haven't figured it out yet. And, I think...
Oh, God, that's always the worst.
I know. It's a discredit to the people who are so amazing and who are such fantastic players. But... it's just something romantic about the idea, I think. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think it kind of gives people a false sense of difficulty. Like, for them to just... It allows, the Monday morning quarterbacks to, say, fuck it. Why should I even try to fucking raid if this...
Why should I even raid if they beat it so fast? It's like, shut the fuck up.
You're not them. You're not... Why are you... Really? No, yeah, I feel like people should kind of get out that mindset of, and it's an easy mindset to get into of time equals difficulty. We should kind of start to kind of trend outside of that mindset to kind of, experience it for yourself. Do it for yourself. See how difficult it is for you and your group, not them. They're different people. They're the 1%. Yeah. We're not there. Most of us aren't there. Like, you're not them. And if you're probably saying, I'm not going to do it just because it's not that damn difficult, then go fucking do it and see how difficult it is.
or difficult it is for you. Maybe you do end up just shitting all over it, and it isn't a problem for you. Awesome, but at least now you can say, I did it. It's like, yeah, it was easy. I fucking did it.
Then you have speaking grounds.
Yeah, then you have speaking grounds.
Yeah, that's just my dollar, because you can't buy anything with 2 cents.
You know what you can buy with
Well
2 cents?
said.
Absolutely nothing, according to Slyh.
Well said,
unless
sir.
you like go to a place where the movie Euro Trip where they it's like they have like $1 and it's like $4 billion equivalent. Then you could buy a lot with 2 cents. That's about it. Yeah. So I think that's covered. Overall, Neo Exdeath looks like it was well worth the wait. The fact that Exdeath is his own Faust, it cracks me the fuck up.
Yeah,
and
that's hilarious.
And he's a difficult Faust too. He's not just a DPS check.
Oh yeah, people are wiping on him. Over the best in the world right now are wiping on him over and over.
It brings back tinges of actual Faust, actual Gordius,
Faust was just ad summoning. Like Exdeath is like an actual encounter built into his own check.
Right.
So I think it's the perfect execution of what a Faust should be. The only thing is he's scaled to test if you're ready for the final boss, not the first boss. Yeah. Which is a very interesting.
He's a doorman to himself.
He's a doorman to his own final encounter.
Gatekeeper.
That's how final bosses work, though. In most Final Fantasy games, they start with the easy form and then they transform into the super form.
Yeah, you have to earn their final form. You don't just get to see it. That's why the line exists. This isn't even my final form because you haven't seen it yet. If he's telling you that.
Exactly. Oh man. Speaking of which, how do you guys feel about the changes to the loot system with the weapons for the final encounter?
How you get what is it? So there's one random drop and there's one item. I don't know what it is. You turn it into whatever into whatever you want, right?
You basically, if you win the coffer from the loot table, you can then take it to a city, and when you use it, whatever job you're on, it creates an equivalent weapon of a savage weapon for you.
Kick ass. That's what I think.
So after 8 weeks, not only has everyone theoretically gotten a coffer, they may have also theoretically gotten their weapon to drop in the first place. And if not, somehow, if your group just hates you and they said, fuck you, you're not getting a coffer after 8 weeks, then you still get the books to buy your own weapon or to buy a body piece of some kind.
Yeah.
So lots of making sure that at least on the final fight, you don't get fucked.
I think that's great.
Random shit. They added in the weekly tombstone caps. They put creation on a bunch of stuff. That's all pretty standard. There are some PvP changes. I don't know that we are qualified enough to really speak on their influence on an actual meta, because I don't know about you guys. If I do PvP, I frontlines or 8v8. I don't 4v4 and climb the ladder or anything. So
I've done 4v4, but I still agree with you because I've never climbed up to diamond. And unless you're of diamond rank or higher, unless you put in hundreds of hours like these top tier players. And unless you've proven yourself against the top tier players, I don't think it's I don't what did you call it? What did you call it, Sly? The Monday night quarterback?
Monday morning quarterback.
You're just being a Monday night quarterback. If you're some bronze, sorry, Monday morning, you're just being some bronze pretender, and I don't want to be that. So,
you can kind of pull some information. Hallowed ground, you now actually get status effects when you're in Hallowed.
That's cool. That leads to outplay
PvP
potential.
Only. Just to be clear, it's PvP only.
Right, PvP only. So someone uses Hollowed before, there's no outplay there. Even the best player, you can't really do anything versus that. And now players of a high skill level can say, oh, he's Hollowed ground, but I can still tack something on to set up for after the Hollowed ground. So that's cool.
Yeah. They also changed, the winning and losing and first, second, and third place rewards and all that.
That's great, in my opinion.
New items. Looks like 04 Savage drops a mount of 01 Savage's boss, pretty much. So, Alta Roit
I saw that.
Mount. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
They added strength to tank accessories, which was the big thing.
Woo!
And it seems like everyone's really happy with the amount that was added, because if you meld strength on top of it, it's a considerable amount of strength.
But they didn't lock out strength accessories, did they, for tanks?
No.
Okay.
The main reason why they didn't want to lock out the old accessories is because somebody could still be wearing them on their character, and they can't unequip them from their character. So they could just never take it off, and then...
Oh, that would be funny.
So instead of just making sure they can't wear the old ones, incentivize them to wear the new ones.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is an okay approach. It's kind of weird that they can't just be like, yeah, that doesn't work on you anymore. They can't make it do neutral stats or anything, but it doesn't matter. What matters is it's resolved. And
Yeah.
that's the majority of it. Then it's like achievements. We mentioned the PvP changes. New music was added. There is one resolved issue I want to discuss real quick because I don't know if you guys are aware of it. So
Let's do it.
Red Mage has had a bug for the last 4 weeks. One that was actually pointed out in my media tour video that I didn't notice until somebody else noticed it. Basically, if you have an imbalance of mana of more than 30, then your mana on the other half generates twice as slow. So like if you have like 60 white mana and 30 black mana, this is the intended part, by the way, then your black mana will generate slower until you're within 30 of the other one. It's a punishment for not balancing your mana properly. The bug was that it would also cut the cost of your melee skills, the ones that burn your MP, in half. So you could realistically be at like 160 or like 155 or something. And then you could still do your melee combo as if you were at 80-80. And it was actually a DPS increase to do it that way because it took less spell casts to get to the point where you could do your melee combo.
Fucking cheap.
They fixed that.
Thank God.
Dang.
Somebody asked me, I got a Twitter DM after the media tour videos came out saying, hey, Happy, when in your Red Mage video, like we're starting to get all this theory crafting down. We noticed that when you had the imbalance at the one point and you still got to do your full melee combo. It didn't make any sense. You weren't at 80-80. And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. 157. So 100 on 1 and 57 was the sweet spot for that.
Whoa.
You can't do that anymore.
Well, props to the guys who were doing that because you figured out some cool shit in the meantime. Sorry you can't do it anymore. Working as intended now, but damn, that would have been cool. I would have had a field day explaining that to my students. Yo, stream, check this out. I'm going to go to 157 and then I'm going to do something you can't normally. Oh, I would have been getting hype, man. Dang, I love bugs. I love bugs. They make shit exciting, just like I love broken-ass fighting games. They're the best. You're like, man, how's this guy doing this? Oh, well, it shouldn't be possible, but this dude figured it out. I don't know.
Carl and Blaze Blue, you can go fuck yourself. That's all I
Yeah, well, there's all sorts.
Not even a bug. You're just an asshole.
You're not even a bug. You're just an ass.
You're just an
That's
asshole.
funny.
Carl. All right, and that covers pretty much everything. There's a bunch of known issues, resolved issues. They also added the 2 remaining S ranks into the fringes and the peaks. Those weren't in the game up until this point. They do that because they don't want those areas getting congested because players who are new to Stormblood, they don't want them to get locked out of the first 2 zones. So those are now in there, the Bone Crawler and Udumbara. So 2 new S ranks with 3 instances in each. Have fun hunting. Get all those crack clusters, my friend. Sly, what are you typing over there? What are you typing?
That was me.
Oh, I couldn't tell because Sly looks like he's typing too. Sly looks like he's been doing work this last 15 minutes.
He's studying O4S. That's what he's doing. He's gonna go kill it before any of us.
I don't even have the fucking video.
I do. I literally watched Neo X Death come into the arena like 80 times in the last 10
I
minutes.
really want to go into everything raw, like raw dog, even though we have past.
Me too, man.
Oh, so you're shutting us out of your brain. Got it.
Yeah, I'm shutting everything.
He muted us. That's what he did for us. Okay.
Yeah.
Sly's rating right now. Little do you know that he's Lucrezia's Dragoon, and he's got Battle Ping going right now. He's at 17%.
Well, what the fast is on right now, so
There you go.
yeah,
Mr. PC player over here. There you go.
It feels smooth as fuck. I'm telling you.
You just switched, didn't you?
Yeah,
And you love it?
I fucking love it, man.
Oh man, I knew it.
I'm sorry, PS4 people who kind
I
of
knew
depended
it.
on me and everything. And
But you still play pad.
yeah, I still play controller.
All right, I thought so.
That's not just on PC.
I thought so.
Yeah, I'm not leaving.
Well, I mean,
that
there's
one.
no reason to switch, right?
No,
Because
no,
it's,
I could, but it would take time and starting to kind of quote unquote learn keyboard and mouse now when we're about to start fucking raid. Yeah, no, nope.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I think that covers pretty much everything. We could talk a little bit about the Lost Canals, but it's basically QWOP 2.0. I think that's enough said, to be honest. And if you haven't tried it yet, try it. It's a lot of fun. There's some good money to be made in there. And now I got to go get some crafted gear and get some melds, boys.
Hey.
Crafted gear is pretty cheap, man. I got a bunch of pieces for like 6 mil.
It's cheap, but some
That's
of
not bad.
the pieces aren't even worth it. I'd say I've looked at some of the pieces for me.
I mean, I'm pentamelding everything because I have so much spare materia. I don't give a shit.
What item level is it?
It's 320. It's the same as Alexander normal.
320.
Oh,
Like my
okay.
body piece is shit. Like my crafted body piece is like skill, speed, determination. So it doesn't have crit, it doesn't have direct hit, doesn't have determination. So womp womp.
Wow, so you could just buy your way to 320 right now.
Yeah, if you wanted to. I mean, that's what I did. I bought my body, my legs, and my boots, which is the only piece that was missing.
Yeah.
And
nice. Okay. Cool.
Okay. I'm sorry, Alex Normal. I said Omega Normal, and neither of you caught it either. I said Alexander Normal instead of Omega Normal. I've done that a lot.
Oh, I never correct people. It's just like I just if I get what they're saying,
it's
I
like,
just it's
what you're saying is dumb anyway. So it's in one ear, out the other. You know?
Well,
Is that what you're saying about me?
No.
Okay. On that note, though, I think we've covered pretty much everything we wanted to cover this week. So we're gonna wrap up the show. Sly, you can get to your raid. Fahros, you can get to your evening as well. And I'd say we have a good show, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us, Fahros.
Loved it. Thank you so much for having me on.
It's great. Why don't you tell everyone? Yeah, see, Sly wanted to say it. Sly, you know what? You've been quiet trying to ignore us and not listen to the mechanics for the fights. So I'm gonna let you do the transition right now.
Let everybody know where they can find you.
Where they can find me. All right, you can find me on Twitter at Fahros. You can find me at twitch.tv/Fahros. I saw some of you in the chat saying, who is this bald-ass motherfucker? I've never seen this dude before. I've been streaming Final Fantasy XIV a while, but I've been going pretty much every day. It's all I've been streaming since Stormblood release. I main Samurai. I do the big deeps. So if you're looking to see any of that, come on over to twitch.tv/Fahros. So it's always a good time. First off, I always try to put on a show, and second off, if you have any questions, I always try to get to them. I'm always trying to be on point with the chat interaction. I'd love to see you there. And thanks again for watching. And thanks again, Mr. Happy and Sly, for having me on, man. It was so cool that you guys asked me. I was super excited, and I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me on. And the work ethic of these two streamers right here is out of this world, man. So huge props to Mr. Happy and Sly again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Fahros. Thank you, Sly. Why don't you tell them? Fuck it, just tell them where they can find you. I can't work.
Show them where they can find me.
Show them where they can tell you where they can find you.
Yeah. You can find me on twitch.tv/Slyh, aka Greyfox. You can find me on Twitter at Slythefox, Instagram Slyh, aka Greyfox07, Facebook Slyh, aka Greyfox, YouTube.com/The Velvet Room. You can find me on my live stream tonight, starting Savage. Yay.
Don't sound too excited.
Hey.
You want to transition over to me?
Yeah, Happy.
Sly, you did it wrong. You're supposed to say, and shoulder tackling onto the scene is Mr. Happy. There you go.
See, no, I don't do your shenanigans. No. Where the fuck can they find you?
It would have been good, though.
You can find me, Mr. Happy 1227, everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'll be pugging O2 Savage tomorrow. And fingers crossed, got 60% today, so hoping for some decent pugs tomorrow over on the Ether Data Center. Anyway, on that note, though, I think we can wrap up the stream, gentlemen. Go into a short post show before I go eat dinner. So thank you again for joining me. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week. I have a few ideas for the show next week, Sly. We're not doing Air Zivia yet, I don't think. I think we'll need another 2 weeks for that. But next week, I have a plan. I'll talk to you about it. You guys just look forward to it because you guys are good.
You have a plan.
We got a plan. We got stuff for you. All right. On that note, though, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and we will see you next week. Until then, take care.
See you next week.
Peace.
And there you go.